That's right, friends. The New York Times has an opinion columnist on the left who is running a opinion piece, and the headline is, "When Trump was right and many Democrats wrong." Some things are true even though President Trump says them. Trump has been demanding for months that schools reopen, and on that he seems to have been largely right. Schools, especially elementary schools, do not appear to have been major sources of coronavirus transmission, and remote learning is proving to be a catastrophe for many low-income children. Yet America is shutting schools. New York City announced Wednesday that it was closing schools in the nation's largest school district, even as it allows businesses like restaurants and bars to operate. What are our priorities? I have taught at the same low-income school for the last 25 years, and truly I can attest that remote schooling is failing our children. It turns out even Democratic parents are livid with Democratic administrations for shutting schools down, particularly elementary schools, because there is no data anywhere that supports elementary schools as being breeding grounds for the virus. There are no reports of teachers in anywhere in this country getting the virus from elementary school age children, 6th grade and less, really 5th grade and less. High school is understandable. In high school, yes, there are problems. And in high school, the kids can get the virus and have problems. Even our kids' school had to shut down for a week because of the high school situation, but the elementary school never did. Because the elementary school is not a transmitter of the virus. In Boston, in Philadelphia, in Baltimore, in Washington, D.C., in Alexandria and Arlington, Virginia, the school systems are letting bars and restaurants be open, but keeping schools, including elementary schools, closed. And you know what this is? It is a tax on the poor. For all of the Democrats who claim to be helping the poor, it's really remarkable. They want to shut down schools, and then they want to do a student loan bailout that actually helps the wealthy and not the poor. They want to redistribute money from poor taxpayers and give it to wealthy taxpayers in the form of a reimbursement on rich people's student loans. Poor people tend to qualify for grants and more aid that is more manageable than the rich kids whose parents are too wealthy, so they got to go out and they got to qualify for student loans. And the rich kids want a bailout. You know, I'm still paying on my student loans. I'd love to have a bailout, but it's ridiculous to give me one. It's ridiculous to give anyone a bailout on the student loans. They're the ones who undertook the task of getting the loan. They're the ones who obligated themselves, and now they want the government to do it, and it's the poor people who are taxed. It is the poor people who are forced to have their money handed over to the government for the government to redistribute it to the rich kids who got the student loans that are going to benefit from it. It is the rich kids who benefit from government schools being shut down because their parents can hire tutors. It's the poor kids who suffer. And these are the policies of the Democrats in these places. And I guarantee you that in 10, 15 years, they're going to want to do bailouts for kids who had crappy educations because they shut down all the schools over COVID. And I'm sure they're going to blame Trump.